So, welcome to this live. Like it's going. Like it's going. So now, yeah. So now we're going to learn about React. Sorry, Irene, CSS, and React. So just prepare Okay. Yes. What? Yeah, let me try again. I think now it's better. Okay, sound test one, two. Okay, let's go. Let's check it. What about now? Is the sound better? Echo, echo. I don't think so. Echo, echo. One, two, one, two. Sound testing, sound testing. Hello guys. So actually now like this, I'm trying to test the sound if everything is working all right before diving into the live. Today we're going to learn about React, Tailwind, but we shall first of all start with Tailwind because I mostly completed all the React course today from the Screamer website. So hope you guys really will enjoy it. So let me check again the sound. If you give me guys a minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let me try and reduce this background. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I hope you guys are getting me. I'm trying to do now a sound test so that the live should be optimal and so on, so that anyone can get me properly. So if you have any remark, anything about the sound, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, please, it will be very helpful. So thank you very much. Let me try again and test this. Echo, echo, 1, 2, sound test, sound test. So it's pretty complicated to do the sound test. So because you have to make sure that everything works quite right. So correctly. So I don't know if any of you have a suggestion for me. Try this again. Yeah. Um, this should be the last test before we dive in properly into our lives. So let's try again. One, two, one, two. Crimson Arcade asked me whether if I'm a front-end developer, a full stack developer. Basically, I'm trying to be a full stack developer, but the main objective here is not to be a developer, but to be a SaaS builder. So actually, that's it. So hope that I answered your question. Thank you. So let me check again the song for the last time and let's move on. Oh, I forgot that I cut down the music. So with the music now, I think that I hope that the sound is good. I hope you guys are getting me keenly, and I hope that you guys will enjoy the live. So that being said, let me go and check again the sound. So guys, I am done with the testing. Now we shall start our live. Um, said, I learned React. That was it. What basically is running me to do is this capstone project 1 and capstone project 2. So we shall do it today, I think so. But before doing that, let us dive into Tailwind CSS.
In this scrim, we'll be diving in browser users' default settings. 0.25 rem will equal 4. Now onto relative and viewport units. Unlike fixed units, these two scale according to the parent element or the viewport. Tailwind makes it easy to set an element to a fraction of its parent container with classes like w half or h half. These are equivalent to width 50% or height 50% in CSS. We can take this fraction concept to even more complicated fractions like 3/5 or even 7/12. You've likely used some of these denominators in CSS for granular control over layout widths. We can also make a container the full width or full height of its parent container using wfull or hfull. Keep in mind that these are just some examples of the classes that Tailwind offers, so be sure to click through to the documentation to check out the full list. And lastly, we have viewport units, which come in handy for full width or full height designs. Don't get these confused with wfull or hfull. While the relative units look at the size of an element's direct parent, viewport units only care about the size of the window or the viewport. The W screen class sets the element's width to match the entire viewport width, while H screen does the same for height. Let's play around with the remaining two section elements. I've left you some challenges to chew on. First, make this first section 100% of the viewport's height. Then make this section a third of the height of the parent container and half of the width of the parent container. Give it a go.
I'm not for understanding what she's. But I understand that I'm supposed to create make sure that this section should have a weight and so on and so forth. So yeah, make this section 100% of the viewport height. I think that for that I don't remember very well. It is like let me check again. Documentation yeah. Because W string W string W hash string 100% of the viewport. So now notice that the viewport successful for you, so there's no problem. I'm really grateful that I'm really happy. Let me say that a live session is helping you guys to get started into web development and so on and so forth. The only thing I can say is that just stay tuned. Just stay tuned because more values to come, more videos are to come, more and more good things are to come. So that's just it. So let me just try and check the solution.
Here's what I did. First, I opened the class list, and for our first section, I gave it H, full. And then for our second section, I gave it two classes, H, third, and W, half. Now, when we adjust the size of this window, we can see that the first section's size stays the same, but the second and third will change according to window size. Let's scroll down to the second section. We can see that this takes up exactly the same height as the window. Now let's scroll down to the third section. If we adjust the window now, we can see that it takes up half of the parent container width and a third of the parent container height. Now that we've had a look at sizing, it's time to add some life to our elements. In the next scrim, we'll dive into Tailwind's powerful color system.
So now this thing was basically more about element sizing. Okay, interesting. What I will do here is that I will keep note of the topics. The first chapter was element sizing. Element sizing. Second one. Let's go. Now colors.
Now that we've covered element sizing, let's bring some life into our designs by exploring one of the most important aspects of styling, which is color. Tailwind comes with a wide range of predefined colors to choose from, like red, blue, and green, to more obscure colors like rose and teal. You won't have to find and remember random hex codes anymore. Instead, Tailwind gives you a consistent set of colors that are both beautiful and accessible right out of the box. But it gets better. As you can see here, each predefined color in Tailwind comes with a shade scale ranging from 50 to 950. The lower numbers, like 50, are lighter shades, while higher numbers, like this 900, give us darker, bolder shades. This makes it super easy to add depth and variation to our designs. But these are just 3 out of the many colors offered by Tailwind, so be sure to check out the full list of colors in the documentation via the link in the slide. Let's take a look at the syntax you'll use to apply these colors. To change the background color of an element, we'll use bg for background, -color -shade. For example, if we want to make an element's background a light cyan, like one of these, we can give the element a class of background -cyan -200. And if we want, let's say, a dark teal, maybe this one, we can go with background -teal -900. And text colors work similarly. We just have to swap out the background for text. So if we want a dark orange text, we might use text-orange -600. And unlike other colors, black and white don't come in shades in Tailwind. You simply have to use text black or background white. Tailwind colors are designed with accessibility in mind. They're optimized for common shades in Tailwind. You simply have to use text black or background white. Tailwind colors are designed with accessibility in mind. They're optimized to ensure good contrast, which helps make your designs more readable and user-friendly, especially for users with visual impairments. But still, we want to make sure that we aren't using, let's say, this red 100 text on a red 200 background, for example. To help us with that, there are some great tools out there. These will help us check the contrast between text and background. You can simply plug in the color values for a foreground and background, and it will tell you whether or not that color combo passes the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or the WCAG. Let's try this out. This scrim here is in desperate need of some styling. Just like before, I've done a bit of external styling using a CSS file so we can just focus on testing out our color skills. I'll minimize this so we can see our code, and here are your 4 challenges. Give the body a background color, give main a background color, give this heading one a text color, and give the paragraph a text color as well. I've given you the colors here, so have at it.
Okay, now challenge one is to give him to give the body a background color. I think that if someone is connected, can just write the color in the chat so that we can move on. So just can you guys give me colors that I can use here? If possible, the shades. I say for example, background color Irene. I think that we should first of all open white class, then write BG, which represent the background color, then the color that you have to use. So let's say blue, and the shade should be, for example, found. It's pretty wonderful because if we had done it in CSS, what would have happened is that we just come here and declare background color, let's say green. I hope you guys see. So if I go here and just like get this guy, save it, and you see that okay, the background color is green. But Tailwind, since it's utility first, it's very useful since that because we don't have to create another file and so on and so forth. And that's just it. So let me delete this guy. Just delete this guy and save it. Go on here. It's not again. Go with it. Okay, background blue. Now, challenge number 2 is to give the main background color yellow, then it says that amber. Sorry, the background color here is supposed to be amber 600. So amber 600. So the shade is 600. Save it. Here's the result. So now let's go on to challenge number 2. Background color, same thing. Declare the class BG. Background color yellow, and the shade is 100. Interesting. Now let's go to challenge number 3. Give this heading the text color red with shade 700. So class text red, the color is red, then afterward 700 is the shade. So you guys can see it here, pretty nice, good, looking well. Now the last challenge is that if what does it mean? IVE, this paragraph that a text color of orange is 7. Okay, I understood. think that we are done for the exercise. So the challenge, let's just move on and check it.
And here's what I did. For the body, I gave it a background color of amber 600. For the main, a background color of yellow 100. The H1, a text color of red 700. And the paragraph, a text color of orange 700. Give this a save, and let's make this a bit bigger. And now it really looks like pizza and fits the part. Now you know how to use Tailwind's predefined color system to easily add colors to your design. Just remember to keep contrast in mind for readability and accessibility. In the next scrim, we'll cover padding and margin, which are essential for spacing and layout.
Let's move on. So the important thing that I should note here is that to do this Tailwind course, you first of all have to know some basic knowledge in CSS and JavaScript.
Let's dive into an essential part of layout design: padding and margin. Tailwind CSS provides a simple way to control spacing within and around your elements using utility classes for padding and margin. First, let's talk about padding. Padding is the space inside an element between the content and the edge. In Tailwind, we'll use the p-value class to add padding, where the value is a Tailwind unit. For example, p-4 will apply 1 rem of padding on all sides of the element. And next, margin controls the space outside of an element between the element and its surrounding content. And we'll use m-value to apply margin. So m4 would add 1 rem of margin to all sides of the element. But what if you wanted to apply margin or padding to only one side of an element? Tailwind makes this super easy with specific classes for top, bottom, left, and right. The syntax only changes a little, asking us to add a side directly after the P or M. For example, to add 2 rem of padding to just the top, we would use P, T for top, and the value of 8, which gives us PT-8 for the class. With Tailwind, you can also target opposite sides with these shorthand classes. X would target the left and right sides, and Y would target the top and bottom sides. So for example, to add 1 rem of margin to the top and bottom of an element, it comes down to one single class, MY-4. This gives you incredible flexibility and ease in controlling the space around your elements with just a couple of classes. Tailwind also offers the auto keyword as a value for margins. The auto value, which you may be familiar with from vanilla CSS, is typically used for centering elements horizontally or vertically. It's particularly helpful when you're working with block-level elements like divs that you want to center on the page. Let's put our new knowledge to the test with a quick challenge. We'll be working with 3 section elements and styling them using just Tailwind utility classes. This will help reinforce how padding, margin, width, and height can work together to shape an element. I've provided the instructions in the editor for each element. You'll see details like background color, text color, margin, padding, width, and height that you'll need to apply using Tailwind classes. Feel free to experiment with the different color shades. As you can see, I haven't provided you with a specific color and shade. So give it a go.
Okay, so now let's look at the fix section. Okay, so I think this exercise is basically straightforward. So first of all, we declare class, write the keyword class. Now we write the background, the syntax for the background color, which is light blue. So light blue. And the shades, let's say the shade is 100. So because the shade was not given to us, so we can basically choose it as we want. If we save it, why is it not working? Is it not working? Because it's wrong. Let's say blue. So the problem is blue. Okay, light blue is okay. Now I understand. So the problem is that the color light blue does not exist. So no, the word light blue does not exist. So as you can see, if you go on as I was saying before, I got interrupted by me. So light blue is this. Light blue should be here. So to determine light blue, you just take the color blue and choose a specific shade. Sorry, that will help you to have light blue. Let's say for example 200. 200 is a nice number, but basically the words light blue does not exist. So let's say 200. 200. Sorry, as you can see, it's basically. Meet is asking me if I am still, yes, I have a portfolio, so I can just share my GitHub profile. As you can see, I have up to 20 projects that I launch personally. So if you want to give it a try, look, here's a link. Does it, and most of the projects are posted online. So for example, I posted on the GitHub. So for example, this project here, which is about learning how to learning the fundamentals of Git. As you can see here, the Git workflow. I even did a video on it. So this game will just help you to understand how Git works. So let's say index boom HTML. That's it. Then if I say for example, so this game is very useful to understand. What do you mean by you opened the wrong one? So basically, yeah, all my personal project I did from HTML to now. So if you want to go and throw a look on it, at it, I can give you the link. So we'll continue. Now they say text blue, text color. So yeah, the thing that I talk about should be dark purple. So the same thing I was doing here. Clear it, then the word text
them using just Tailwind, just the top, we would use bottom, left, and right by margin. So M4 would add 1 rem of margin to all sides of the element. But what if you wanted to apply
to all sides of the padding unit is also, I think that's supposed to be padding, supposed to be padding is supposed to be 6, sorry, not 6 for all sides, that is 1.5 rm. The weight of the parent container and the height. Okay, let's see. So normally the thing here is that this section. That's fine. Now the weight should be half of the container. Let's go again and check this thing out. Weight, the documentation of weight. So here's how we do we want, for example, here is the example here. So we want it to be half of the parent size. So like this thing. That is the correct notation. Go down again. Size, custom value. Okay, so I think now it's okay. Half of the parent size. Now the height should be, so the height should be 32 units. Let me check this page.
and here's what I'd give it a go.
Okay. I don't like how she did this box. It's not that nice. Normally when I'm supposed to check for the solution,
And here's what I did.
something I'm supposed to have an answer like it was happening with the React pause. But no problem, let's move on and do the rest of the exercise. Maybe the background color should be no, the background. I think the background color should be. Let's see the background color. Okay, now let's move on to the other sections. Now let's see also do dark green. So let's get to it. Let me just write. So green, dark green should be something like 900. Text color should be pale green. Let's say 100. What else? Margin is supposed to be 6 units. So 6 units, that is 1.5 rm. And padding is supposed to be 8 units. Padding is supposed to be 8 units. Weight is supposed to be 100% of the parent weight. So say weight full. And height is supposed to be 40 units. Height is supposed to be 40 units. Hey bro, what are you working on? Now I'm learning margin supposed to be automatic, so it's supposed to align center horizontally. So align supposed to. And the next one you have to do is padding. Padding supposed to be 4 units. The width is supposed to be, I think it's like this. The feet 12, 5 over. I don't even know how they say it in English. 5 over 12. Let's say that. Yeah, it's supposed to be 24. So now let's submit.
And here's what I did. For the first section, I gave it a background of blue 200, text purple with a shade of 800, margin 4, padding 6, width of half, and height of 32. There we go. And for the second section, I gave it a background of green 800, text of green 100, margin on the top and bottom for 6, padding on the left and right 8, width full and height 40. And finally, for the last one, I did background yellow 200, text amber 600, margin left and right auto to center it, padding on top and bottom 4, width of 5 over 12, and a height of 24. Give that a save. And by adding the classes, you've seen how padding and margin can create space around and inside of elements, and how width and height control the size of each section. These utilities are incredibly powerful and allow us to quickly adjust layouts without writing any custom CSS. And with that, you've got the basics. In the next scrim, we'll start applying what we've learned so far to our project, the Plant Enthusiasts blog. Welcome to the main project of this course. Our client would like us to style their Plant Enthusiasts blog using Tailwind CSS. This will be a great opportunity to apply everything that we've learned so far. First, let's have a look at our project starter file. Right now, we've got a plain HTML document with no styles applied. It's so raw that our preview looks pretty subpar. It's up to us to make this look fantastic. You'll notice that I have already imported Tailwind CSS using the CDN, so we're all set to start adding utility classes. There's also a folder here with all the images that we'll be using throughout the project. There's a comment up the top with your tasks for this section, and there's another big comment at the bottom that holds all the information we'll need for every blog post. Right now, we'll just be dealing with one. Before we begin styling, let's have a look at the client's mockup together. This is the design that we'll be aiming for this project. It includes the header, footer, and multiple blog preview cards. These mockups will be our guide as we apply styling and structure to match the overall look and feel. We'll start by focusing on the mobile view first, since building for smaller screens ensures our layout is flexible and works well on all devices. We'll work on the desktop mockup much later. The HTML file contains all the content needed for our final blog design. You'll see that I've only included the structure for one blog preview card in the HTML. Later on, once we're happy with our styles, we'll copy and paste this structure to create the other blog preview cards using the text content provided in the comments at the bottom. For now, we're going to pull together everything we've learned so far about sizing, colors, padding, and margin, and apply it to style the header and footer of our blog, as well as little bits of a preview card. Do keep in mind though that we haven't covered every concept needed to perfectly match the mockup just yet, so it's okay if our project doesn't look exactly like the client's mockup right now. Here are your tasks for this scrim. Handle the header and footer background color and text color. It looks like both the header and footer have the same background color and the same white text. Next, handle the header icon/logo. It's relatively small and it sits in the center. Next, set the header and footer padding. There is a bit of space between the edge of the mockup and the content itself, and we can see this best demonstrated in the footer mockup. Next, set the width of the card container and the card. According to the mockup, the container that holds all the blog cards is 11/12 of the viewport. This makes our job super easy. We'll just use this number right here. Then make sure to center the container so it sits in the middle of the screen. And finally, we can start styling the card contents. For now, we'll just need to set the width of the card, which, by the way, is in the mockup. Give the card content some padding, and make sure the author's image is much smaller than what it is right now. All of this will be tricky to do without seeing the container's boundaries, so feel free to give the container a background color for now that stands out so you can see what's happening. So go ahead and try this now. Once you've given it a go, we'll work through it together.
I'll be programming this.
Tailwind CSS isn't just another style. It has exploded with something. Why can't we use just a regular? Before we dive into complex layouts, let's start with Tailwind Play, an interactive online playground for testing Tailwind CSS styles. I'll put the link to it down below this lesson, and once you're there, you can delete all of the pre-generated code. Instead, let's start with a basic hello world. So far, super plain and super boring. So let's bring Tailwind into the mix. As I already mentioned, Tailwind provides a set of predefined utility classes to style elements without having to write custom CSS. For example, we can very easily style this H1. Just start by giving it a class and start typing text dash. And immediately, you'll see a drop-down with all of the related utilities. This will include alignment, font sizes, colors, and more, making it super easy to explore and apply all of these different styles. So let's apply a property of text-center, text-LG, as well as text-blue-400. And just so we don't have to stare at this white screen while everything else is dark, I'll put it right below and head over into CSS and target the body element by giving it a background color. 10172A is this nice Tailwind CSS color. And now if you want to apply some kind of a margin to this text element, you can say margin top 2 maybe. And then you can either apply top, right, bottom, left.
I thought that tutorial was better, but it's unexpected. He says, hey bro, I have recently started front end. Have I completed HTML, CSS? Should I continue or what? Think is the future of this field as well as we know AI production level community. I think personally that there's a fake hype behind AI. That's just the truth. Because recently the CEO of GitHub, if I can just recently the CEO of GitHub, this guy said that the engineers that will be headlight engineer, that will be A players or the best engineers, the engineers that will know how to use AI. That's just it. So if you want to know closure for AI, this is it. GitHub CEO says AI won't replace developer because smart components don't know what's going on with my sound. Maybe it's because of the connection. Wait a minute. Is it better now? I don't know. Like, you guys should just tell me. So as I was saying, the guy is saying that the CEO, is saying that Slack company will just double down on the engineer, not cut them up. That's just it. He said it all, because you cannot use AI to build a website that uses Tailwind without understanding how Tailwind is working. That's just does not make sense, because there will come a time that, okay, you will have to like debug the website, or there will be a problem with the front end, the performance will not be good, and so on and so forth, and you will not know how to do it because you build it entirely with AI. So it does not make sense. But if you know how to use Tailwind and you have AI, so AI will just be like an assistant for you. You tell the AI what to do exactly and how to do it. So in terms of leverage, AI will be excellent. So there's no need to say that this AI stuff will replace engineers. It does not make sense. Even I think that this guy is qualified. This CEO of GitHub, the enterprise behind Copilot, is qualified to talk about this subject, and he has first class information. So I have the same point of view like him. Fazal Rayman, hello Ale, how you doing? I'm doing good, thank you for the support. Rian, keep up bro, thank you. Bro, how can I learn CSS in a short period of time? The first thing, the thing here is that I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if you guys know Elon Musk, but I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know Elon Musk. But let me just say that Elon Musk, the guy behind thousands of companies, many companies, let's say that X, SpaceX, PayPal, OpenAI, XAI, so on and so forth. Now, the guy said that something very interesting. Normally, we're not supposed to learn the tool, but instead, we're supposed to learn how to use the tool to solve problems. So when you're asking me, how can I learn CSS in a short period of time? The first question I'll ask you is, what do you want to achieve with the tool CSS? So if you want to make a website, then I will tell you to learn all the basics. Now, if you want to make animations and so on and so forth, I will tell you to learn all the basics and learn also the advanced concepts. So it depends on which problem you want to solve, and more specifically on what you want to do. So that's just my question. That's just my response about it. So because nowadays we are like, there's this thought that we are focused on learning the tools instead of learning how to use the tools to solve problems. So normally what they're supposed to teach us in school is to learn how to solve problems. And when you are solving a problem, you will get to know how to use the tools to solve the problem. So if you just go and say, okay, I'll learn CSS, it's just like kind of waste of time, because you are learning it just for the sake of learning. So it's not like you got something to do with it. So that's my opinion about it. I also agree with Shub. He says that no short period, but you at least going to spend a week to get used to it and create a decent web page. Totally. That's I agree totally. So now let's continue our challenge. So now they're asking me to handle the footer, background, and text color. Okay. Go and look. Class. Beijing. I don't know the color here. What's the name of the color here? Let's see. How do I handle the color? Let me just take any color. I think that this color here is supposed to be dark blue. No, not dark blue. Where is it? Sky. Resemble Momo. Cyan. Yeah, cyan. Yeah. I would say cyan. Yeah, I think so. Cyan. That's a 900. So cyan. 900. Okay, I got it right. And the text is supposed to be text color. Normally here is white. So let me just also write text white. That's just it. Let's say 50. I don't know if white have shades. Let me check here. Is there even a white color? I don't know why this website. Okay, I don't know if there's a white color, but now done. Let's move on. Now handle the header, icon, and logo. Okay. So now the problem here is it's too big. So normally I'm supposed to have a reduced size like here, very small. So that's why we talk about sizing. So let's go and look for the width and height. So let's just say that where's the tag for the logo in the header? So what is it? Section HTTP. I think it should be here. Because if I remove this guy, I think it is a logo. Okay, I said I got it right. So here's the logo. So here's the tab for the logo. No, here's tab. Okay, here's the tab for the logo. So normally here is supposed to be like, let's say class. Let's say width 3, width say 3 units, which will make an height let's say 4 units. Too small. Okay, let's say 10. I think now it's better. So I hope you guys are seeing. I think now it's better. Now let's center everything. So now to center it, normally in CSS we use text align, justify content, and that sort of things. But yeah, I think that we can use the margin. I don't know. So let's just check. Padding. Okay. Padding. Okay. This is it. With the padding we can center it. 6 pattern top, right, left. Okay, adding horizontal pattern. So I would prefer to add horizontal pattern to the section, not to the image, because I want that it should have effects on the section. So I would say like let's say 8 pixels. good. It's not enough. PX, sorry, what was the magic? PX, no one's possible. That's it then. That's a problem. So I'm not doing it right. So I don't know if this has to be try to sit very fast. It does not make sense, right? Let me think about it again. Let's try this. Let's see. Okay, I got it right. In the center. Let me use at the top and reduce the height. Let's see. Let's see. Also, someone can. But the problem here is that I don't want it to touch here. So I don't know. Should I increase the padding? I think yeah, the padding is right there. Yes, padding. Let's say padding 2 units. Okay, that's it. So no more touching. That's fine. Put back the height to 10. Okay. That's done. So we want the contact to be white. Look, I can set header and put a padding. It's not a big deal. Background text, okay. Under the icon / logo. Done. Now set the header and footer padding. The header pattern yes, let me just not use the header color. So let me just copy it and go now to the footer. Here's the footer. Yep, let's copy it. Class. And we have the footer. Okay. Now let's give it the pattern of 2 units. That's right. Okay, it's done. 2 units. And then yeah. Set weight of cards.
Now let's walk through how I did it, and you can compare it with your version. First, I added background slate 700 to the header and the footer.
Got it right.
Then I made the text white for both of them with text white, text white. For the header icon, I found that the width of 10 units worked best to make it fit nicely. So over here in the SVG, I added width 10. I then centered it by adding MX Auto. Then I used P-4 to add padding on all sides on both the header and the footer. So back here, I did P-4, and in the footer, P-4. And to the card container section element, which is right here, I added the following classes: width 11/12 and MX Auto to set its width and also center it vertically. To style the contents of the card, I added a light grey background just to see what I'm doing. So over here in card, I gave it a background of slate 100 just for now, and W80 for the 20 rem width, and then MX Auto in order to center the card. If we take a peek now, everything is coming into place nicely. Next, I made the author photo a lot smaller by giving it a width over here, class width of 8. And popping back up here to the card content section, I gave the content section, which by the way is everything not including the image, some padding. So class P4. Let's have a look. Now the content isn't looking too much like the mock-up at the moment, but we'll be back once we've learned a little more. We're going to jump back to our learning scrims to pick up a few more essential skills. Next up, we'll look at how to work with typography using Tailwind CSS. I'll see you in the next scrim. Now that we've laid out the foundation of our project, it's time to level up by diving into typography, specifically Tailwind's font classes. These classes make it easy to adjust the look and feel of our text content. Tailwind CSS offers a variety of built-in font stacks that you can apply using the font-family class. Here are the main options: font sans, font serif, and font mono. Font sans is actually the default font family until you change it to another one. These predefined font stacks are great for quickly giving your text the right personality without needing to set custom fonts. I've put a link to the docs if you want to explore these font stacks further. The font style classes are pretty straightforward. They let you control whether text is italic or non-italic. These are handy for quotes, emphasis, or whatever you think needs that stylistic flair. Finally, let's talk about font weight. You can control the thickness of your text by inputting one of these 9 options into the weight. These classes give you flexibility in making your text stand out or blend in, depending on your design. Let's try out what we've learned so far. Here we have a stack of book spines. I want to challenge you to use a combination of padding, color, and font classes to create a unique stack of books. I'll start with the first one all the way down here at the bottom. I'll hide the preview for now. In the class list, I'm going to make it 96 units wide, give it a dark crimson background, bright golden text, 3 units of padding on the top and bottom, 5 units of padding in the left and right, a serif font family, I'll make it italic and very, very thick. Save, and we'll check it out. Now it's your go. Really flex all the skills that you've learnt so far to create a unique stack of books that make you look like a super interesting reader. I'll show you my stack of books when you're done.
Let's say class equals to weight 19, background color, let's say pink, then will work. Okay, that's right. Text, let's leave it to amber, no, white, text white, bottom top, bottom 3, bottom left and right, bottom left and right, 5,
hope you had fun playing around with fonts, colors, and padding to create some interesting combinations. Here is what I came up with, and I'll speed the section up for you. You've successfully styled a quirky bookshelf of book spines using different fonts, colors, and padding. This exercise shows just how powerful these classes can be and how much personality they can add to even the simplest design. In the next scrim, we'll explore how to style your text even further, applying alignment, decoration, and transformation. Now that we've got a handle on font classes, it's time to dive into text classes, which give us even more control over how our text appears. Text alignment determines how text is positioned within its container. In Tailwind, we manipulate this using the text-value class. For this value, Tailwind provides these 6 options. These should all look pretty familiar, because they all match up with the corresponding value you'd normally give the text-align CSS property. Next up is font size. Just a quick note here. This may be a little confusing because of the interchanging use of the words font and text. The Tailwind name and CSS syntax is font size, but the Tailwind syntax is text-value, and that's because it changes the text rather than the font itself. For this value, Tailwind provides a range of sizes from extra small all the way to 9XL. By supplying a font size class, you can quickly tailor your text to fit any design need. These are, of course, not all the classes available, so click through to the docs if you want to check them all out. The text decoration classes let you apply and remove underlines, overlines, and line-through effects, as well as remove them with the no underline class. These all correspond to values you might give the text-decoration
you are a younger guy, the fear that you have is that you're not going to have the resources to attract,
un peu le cul en arrière, pourquoi tu mets un peu le cul en arrière. Kameni, ça dit quoi? Quel problème? Kams. Allez, petit job. La star. So, but how the fuck would that backtrack? Nigga, it's just. So, guys, we are back to learn React. Okay, now let's continue with the learning journey. Okay.
-line CSS property. Finally, the text transform classes help you control the capitalization of your text. Similar to before, these all match up with values you would give the text-transform vanilla CSS property accessible right in the HTML. Let's try our hand at everything so far. Here we have a character card from a game. This card features the name of the character, an image, some abilities of the character, and some flavor text. I've already set up some of the layout of the page by centering the card and image and giving the card itself some margin at the top, but it's up to you to style the text and then fine-tune the layout. Here's a glimpse of what the card could look like once it's fully styled. Ready to give it a try? Use a combination of all the classes you've learned so far to bring this design to life, and I'll show you how I achieved it when you get back.
Okay. To the mock-up, center aligned the text. So let's first of all go and look at the text. Okay. I think that to center align here is pretty easy. It's I think X photo. Okay, it's not working. Okay, sorry. Okay, for now I don't know how to do it. Okay, let's start with Flamingo, Parrot, Flamingo, Carabine, Red, this uppercase. I think these guys are not shit, so it's not worth it, seriously. Let me just say that. Okay. Text decoration. Somewhere here I'm supposed to have like a reference, but one exercise is too much. So like to go and come back and just read.
Welcome back. I hope you had fun bringing your card design to life. Let's walk through the styling together to see how mine turned out. First, I made all the text center aligned by adding text center to the main element right after all of these classes. Then I handled the character name. Down here in the H1, I gave it the following classes: text rows 700, uppercase, text 3XL, and font bold. We'll have a quick look, and everything's looking pretty good so far. Next, I worked on the two abilities at the same time by selecting both of these H3s in the editor. For the ability name, I gave them both text, rows 600, font medium, and text large. And for the ability descriptions, they both got text small. Then I styled the quote at the bottom with a text gray 500, text extra small, and italic to match the mockup. Now all that's left to do is space out the elements. First, your card design to life. Let's walk through the styling together to see how mine turned out. First, I made all the text center aligned by adding text center to the main element right after all of these classes. Then I handled the character name. Down here in the H1, I gave it the following classes: text rows 700, uppercase, text 3XL, and font bold. We'll have a quick look, and everything's looking pretty good so far. Next, I worked on the two abilities at the same time by selecting both of these H3s in the editor. For the ability name, I gave them both text, rows 600, font medium, and text large. And for the ability descriptions, they both got text small. Then I styled the quote at the bottom with a text gray 500, text extra small, and italic to match the mockup. Now all that's left to do is space out the elements. First, I separated the character name from the image by adding margin bottom 2 to the H1 element. And then I separated the abilities from the image by adding margin top to the section that holds the abilities. Then I separated the second ability from the first by adding margin top 3 to the section holding the second ability. And lastly, I separated the quote from everything else by adding a class to the footer, margin top 6. And there we go. Remember, there's no single way to style this, so if your spacing or colors look a bit different, that's perfectly fine. But we're not done with typography just yet. In the next scrim, we'll dive into some extra typography-related utilities to give you even greater control over your text. Now that we've explored the basics of Tailwind's font,
learn Python or Ruby is easier. I don't think that Tailwind is difficult. Like for real. EURI 005. For real, Tailwind is not difficult, just that you just have to grab the basics. But the way this, I don't really like the way this screen bar course is going. So, but let me just go through the end and see. I'll take again on addition. I'll take my conclusions at the end.
And text classes, it's time to dive into some of the more niche typography related utilities that can help us fine-tune our text styling. Letter spacing controls the space between individual characters in our text. Tailwind makes it easy with the tracking dash value class and the 6 values for it. As you can see in this table, each of these change the letter spacing CSS property to make the spacing between letters super tight or super wide. Line height determines the vertical spacing between lines of text, and Tailwind allows us to control this using the leading dash value classes. We can input one of these 6 named values into the value, or we can also use the Tailwind unit here, as long as it's between 3 and 10. So for example, we can add leading dash tight for a line height of 1.25, or leading dash 4 if we want a line height of 1 rem. Line clamp has to be one of my favorites. Sometimes you only want to display a few lines of text, especially in blog or article previews. While this is possible with vanilla CSS, it takes a few properties to get it working across all browsers, as we can see right here. This is where Tailwind's line clamp dash value classes come in handy. It allows you to limit the number of lines that will be shown, and the rest will be hidden with an ellipses, with just one single class. So for example, line dash clamp dash 2 will limit the text to 2 lines. And if you want to show all lines of text, we can use line dash clamp dash none. The last 3 scrims explored just some of the core typography classes that Tailwind offers, but there are plenty more out there. If you're curious, you can explore the full range of text utilities by checking out the Tailwind documentation. It's a great way to discover even more ways to style your text and make your projects truly unique. So now let's bring everything we've learned about typography and try out a mini challenge. Here we have the beginnings of a newspaper article preview. We've got an article title, an article image, a journalist name, a date, an excerpt, and a read more link. Just like before, it's up to you to style this using Tailwind CSS. Here's an example of what it could look like once it's fully styled. Let's use all the knowledge we have learned so far to try and replicate this mockup. Once you've had a go, I'll show you what I would have done.
Hello. Yes, mom. So let's make the padding to be equals to 40. No, I think 20 is too big. Let's say 15 units. It's wanna see the padding. Let's say 18 units. 20. The question is, do we get jobs by learning these skills? Eventually, yes. Okay, the image. This one is here, the font, the name of Dennis quick query is bold, so just thanks for the support. Keep up, man. You got it. Thank you. I think yours here is font bold. Okay, right. The next part to work on is on the big text. On this text here, with the read more some support. So here I think I was supposed to use line, climb, clamp. Yeah. 3. This is very interesting. This is what I was supposed to use. So how many lines? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So let's say 4 lines of code. 4 lines is supposed to be short. What is the description? Here is it. C class is equals to okay, that's it. The last one here is this read. I wanted to make it let me check again. Read more is underlined. Normally it's supposed to be online, right? I think that there's a class to make it underlined. So let me just check it again here. Let's go on layout, provide styling, of course. Let me just write the words underlined. As I'm always making similar. Interesting. So basically we have this underline offset number. Okay. So you just wait for a minute. What's the difference? Shaikh, no Jahan. Okay, I think that should be an Indian. So Indian guys are very polite. So that's for real. So you're asking me if I can make a PDF of all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript basic. Yes, I will do it. And more to that, I will do. I would like to create a video on a YouTube video on that. So just keep connected. So just stay tuned, subscribe, and turn on the notification. notification error. Okay, now let's continue here. I don't know, is it a, yeah, I think that offset was the right thing to do here. Italian offset. Let's say underline, there's offset on the line. Underline text decoration, that's what I was looking for. This is it. So underline to make sure that this text is underlined. So basically we have this text. So as we saw here, read more. Okay, read more is underlined. So we just have to underline the text here. Save it. That's it. Okay, pretty good. What's the next step to do here is all. It's not, I'm pretty done with it. So, I'm on it. Hi, Carl Lover. Welcome. Yeah, I hope that you found the live interesting. So, basically, I've done up to anyone is watching. People are watching, so I hope that if you look inside the chat, you will see that the people that are writing and so on and so forth. So as I was saying, I did it most of them, so for 1 hour 30 minutes. I think that tomorrow I'll continue, so let me go back to React. Tomorrow I'll continue. I think that today I got a pretty nice grab on the technology behind CSS. Shaik, I said that I would do a better, and I will also do a video. That's what I was saying. So for your question, because maybe you guys are not seeing the questions, so it's yeah, Shaik. Yeah, I'll do a video about it. That's it. I'll do a video about it. So just subscribe and stay tuned. Very soon I will do a video about it. So now let's go back to React and do this project. Okay, there's a project name, Capstone Project 1, Denzies. I don't know if it's the right pronunciation, but let's do it. Interesting. Which animation tool do you use? Because there is this GSAP. I don't know if you have heard about it. I've already tried some animation with it. I even did, if you guys, I don't know if I posted the project on my GitHub repository. Let me go on. I don't know if I posted the project on my GitHub repository. Let me just check it. So I did the project where I used GSAP. Let me go right to show you what GSAP animation is. Yeah, I'm talking about this guy. Not this guy. Talking about this guy. Yes, it's pretty nice animation. And the project that I did with it was this one. Let me show you guys. It was a watch project. Yeah, because it's pretty easy project, which is this swiper stuff. Sorry, not the swiper, but the animation. Because if you see, when I load the project, it comes up, the watches comes up, the other information goes there, right? So we need to start there. Yes, I will make it PDF. Make sure, don't mind, Shaik, I'll make it PDF. Don't bother.
The remainder of this course is going to be 2 back-to-back capstone projects, starting with this first one, which is a game called Tensies. Now, let me be completely clear. Ask anybody in the field and they will very frequently tell you that project building is the way to learn something new. There is no way to get better at React than to have your hands on the keyboard practicing React as much as possible. So although we won't necessarily be learning much new content in these remaining 2 sections, they do represent the most important parts of this entire course. Do not, under any circumstances, skip these capstone projects, or you will only be shorting your own children 10 dice to have the skills with rolling a bunch of dice, the way that you play, and there's a GIF here that will kind of animate and show you how it works. You roll your dice, you try to get all 10 dice to have the same number on top. And so in our game, which we'll just move over here to the live version, I can click the dice that I want to hold. When I roll, it will roll all the dice except for the ones that I held. And let's see how lucky I can get here. We're just going with the 4s. There's another one, and this is usually where I start to get pretty unlucky in my rolls. Okay, there's one more. And okay, we have our last 4 here. What's really fun about this app, and you won't be able to see it here in the recording, but if you refresh here and play through the game, you'll see that when you click the last number and all the numbers are the same, then a really fun confetti drop starts from the top of the browser window. The button changes to new game, and clicking it will, of course, start a new game. Feel free to look through the code ahead of time if you kind of want to get a lay of the land and see all of the fun things that we're going to be working on. And keep in mind that this project is going to be one where I am simply giving you a challenge and then expecting you to work through the challenge, even if it stretches your capabilities and understanding a bit, and then we go through it together to make sure that we're on the same page. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's jump right into the first challenge.
Simasiba voice issues. Are you guys not getting me? I think that I'm speaking. Is it not better now? So, sorry for the growing issues. I will do a video about HTML, CSS, and JS concepts to know. My voice is not clear. I'm sorry for that. Sorry. Yes, there's a lot of topic that's required for that. First of all, up to basics, intermediary, and advanced. Unfortunately, I cannot list all of them. So. Okay, so you guys should not mind. I will do a video about it. Maybe the video will come out. The video will be out maybe next week. Let's say that. No, not next week because next week. Next week, say Thursday. I am from. My country is Germany.
The remainder of this course is Here we are starting from an almost completely blank canvas. The only things that we have are our React and React DOM dependencies installed. Our index.html is bare bones, as it usually is in a React app, although I did include the inter font from Google Fonts, so you don't have to worry about that. And our CSS is very sparse, just some very basic styles so that we can start from a good place. Hopefully this feels good to you. I know it's probably a little daunting. It's been a while since we have set up a React app completely from scratch, but that's exactly why we're doing it. So the challenge this time is just to start up a brand new React app. Some notes on how I'd like it structured. I want you to create a separate app component that will be in a separate file. Then here in the index.jsx file, I want you to import and render that app component. Inside the contents of the app component, just render a main element. It doesn't have to have anything inside of it, but then what you'll do is just style everything so that it looks like this very beginning state here where we have this blue background color and the main element, which is the white box here with the rounded corners. Click on the screenshot here to go directly to the Figma file where you can get all of the specific styles, including the colors and how much of a rounded corner there is and everything like that. All right, let's jump right in. Go ahead and spin up our brand new React app.
Okay, so let's try and build this thing from scratch. Basically, you guys will give me a minute, so I'm coming back. Just a minute. Yeah, what did we have to say? Basically, tired of speaking. They are not replace anything. Okay, I am back. Okay, so let's go on and focus. Let me go right to the chat. AI will replace the IT sector. What will you justify, sir? I think here you're trying to ask me what will, if AI can replace the IT sector. No, AI, for now, AI will replace nothing. I'm pretty sure that AI cannot do that much because I think that there's like a wrong hype. Let me say something like that. The hype behind AI is not justified. It does not correspond to reality. And I said it at the beginning of the live by giving the example of the CEO of what the CEO of the CEO of GitHub said about AI. He basically said that AI will not replace. Yeah, his word. He said AI won't replace developer because smart companies will now double down on engineers and not cut them off. In simple terms, it means that an engineer, a good engineer that knows how to use AI tools will become an excellent engineer because his productivity will rise. That's just it. And an excellent engineer will become a superb engineer with AI tools. That's just it. And let me tell you something. If you don't know, if you use AI to let's say for example, to build a site web, and you don't know how to build a site web, you don't know the basics behind building a site web, it will take you more time to build a website, compared to the guy or to the engineer, to the web software, to the web developer who knows how to build a site web and uses AI tools. That's just it. So nothing like replace IT sector. Just keep winding, just keep learning. Don't allow this fake hype to make you doubt that you cannot learn anything and so on and so forth. And if AI have to replace the IT sector, I'm sure that it should be like 50 years from now. Maybe 50 years, let me say more clearly. 50 years from now, let's talk about the subject of AI replacing anything. I hope that I answer your question, Shahid. So now, let's go on and look at the property here. Layout, color, and so on and so forth. So now the challenge here is to build a brand new React app. The first thing is to create a separate app component. That's pretty easy. The second thing is to import and render the app component here. Easy. And in the app component, render the main element and style everything to look like the slide. So let's first of all create a separate app component. So app, to create a React file, we use sign.sgs. So we create a file name .jsx, and to create now a component in this file, so of us say export default. So we're exporting the component, followed by the keyword function, then followed by the name of the component. After doing that, we are done. So now inside this, normally the name of the file is supposed to the name of the file here is supposed to have the name of the file is also the name of the component. So the name of the component, so normally not supposed to be main here, but now the third issue here is that the third thing here is to import and render the app component here in this file. Okay, it's pretty easy. So now we shall import the app component. To do that, it's pretty easy. Use the keyword import, then follow with the app name of the app, then we import it from the document or from the file. I think that is app.js. That's it. So after doing that, we basically like create a function here, a component here. I think that is something that's missing. Okay, nothing's missing here. So now I have to create a function export deport function. So function no, sorry, index, in case we import it, and let's render the app component here. That's it. So now in the app component, render the main element. Okay, app component here are supposed to render the main element. So the main element here should be this HTML tag. Let's say here is the main element. There's the main element. Okay. After doing that, style everything so that it looks like this guy. Thanks for your justification. No problem. I'm really grateful. I'm really happy to give you my opinion. So I hopefully it really helps you out. Okay. Now to style it is go to the index.css file, and since we are styling the main, so there's only one main element. So the thing here to do is to basically use the tag, the rule set that would precisely style the main. And the thing to do here is to like, okay, the body color is supposed to be, let's say body, let's say background color here, background color is supposed to be, let me take the color here. Does it? So the main is supposed to have, let's say background color. Sorry, background color. Let's say white. Okay. The width is 360, 377. Okay. Say the width of the main is 360 pixels. The height is 376 pixels. Normally it's supposed to render. I don't know why it's not rendering. So I don't know why it's not rendering. Let me think. I did this thing very well. So I render it here. It's correct. What's wrong here? Nobody's supposed to. This guy is supposed to show in here. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. I made an error. Normally it was supposed to create something like first of all get think, I don't know if it's create element, something like this. And yeah, okay. First of all, do like this: get element by ID. So this document, get element by ID, and the ID here is root. So normally it's going to go and get this element there. I don't know again why something's supposed to be created. Let me ask ChatGPT. I've forgotten how, but I know exactly what they asked me to do here, but I've forgotten how it's working. Get element. Let's see again. The React rendering code. Let's see now. Yes, this is what I was looking for. Voila, exactly what I was looking for. So normally it's supposed to be something like this. It's wrong. Was it right? Good. Is it because of this guy? Okay. AppJS is from AppJS. Root, better than by ID. Create roots. Okay, this, I think that there's an import that we're supposed to do here. This guy. So let's that's why it's not working. So, voila. Now it is working. You guys should clap for me. Okay. Now, so basically to render something on React, you first of all create a constant root, which will create a new root by using by getting the roots, by getting the ID of the div element that is being found in the HTML element. That's it. So when it's being obtained, then we create a root, React done. So after doing so, what happened is we use root render. We use render. So basically this function to render everything that comes up on the screen. So after connecting it to the root variable. So to do that is very easy. So normally I could delete this guy and just like connect all of them together. So let me just show you. Delete this guy and connect all these guys together. Okay, root. Sorry, not this root. Save. Still shows the same thing. That's just it. So now let's go on to style this new. So normally the top is 69, so pixel, so top 69 pixel. Left is 76 pixel. 76 pixel. It's not working. Normally it's supposed to be center. Let me check something. It's supposed to be at the center. So to do that, we may like I think that we can use border rounded. So I think that rounded border is border radius, yes, it should be, let's say, 20 pixels. It's too much. What's the border radius here? Radius 10 pixels. So 10 pixels. Okay, right. Now the thing to do here is to center this guy. That's just okay, I see the problem here is 320, 320. So 320. Okay, that's it. Now I think that's, let's say, align content. I think it's align content. Align content center. It's not it. Just align content center. Okay, sorry. What it's doing is it said align content. It's not, it's the content like basically now, but I want it to be in the center. So what can I do here? Padding is okay. Border 16. Okay. Border radius 16. You see the 16 here? Yes, it's here. 16. So I'm going to say border radius 16. Padding. Top and bottom 17. Top and bottom 17. 11, 9, 16, 8. Sorry, 8, 16, and 17. See, 16 and 8 pixel. Okay. Now, what do I need to do now is now the main objective here is to center this guy. I don't know how to do it. I want it to stand at the center. Okay, I see. Okay. Align content here. Should be set here. Align content. Center. Justify content. Center. It's not working. Hello, binary breakdown. Check solution. Okay, thank you.
If you had to go back to some of the earlier lessons and see how we scaffold a new app in React, believe me, it's completely okay. In fact, the recommended way of spinning up a new React app is by using Vite, and Vite will bootstrap all of this beginning stuff for you. So truly, don't be fretting too much if you don't remember how to do these beginning lines of code. That said, we are going to go through this together. I need to import React DOM from React-DOM. And I'm going to call React DOM to create a new root element, and we have to tell it where that root is going to exist. So not a string. We need document.getElementById with the ID of root that's going to reach into our index.html and find the div with the ID of root right here. And this will serve as the root for our entire React app. Everything will get stuffed right here inside of this div. I'm just going to chain on top of the create root the render method, and I'm going to have it render the app component that I have not yet created. But for now, let's pretend we have created it. We'll import app from ./app, and let's go ahead and create that file, app.jsx. I honestly can't remember if I taught this earlier in the course, but whenever I'm creating a new file that is intended to be a React component, best practice is to give a capital letter to the file name. So since app.jsx is going to export default function app, this is going to be my app component, I want to make sure that the file name starts with a capital letter. Okay, this app component just needs to return a main element for now. So that's what we'll put in. And just to make sure I can see it, let's go ahead and type something here. We'll cross our fingers and hit save. And oh, we got an error. Let's see, react.createRoot is not a function. And yes, I missed this critical part here. This has to come from the client library in React DOM. Okay, good. Here we go. Type something here. Not too big of a bug. That's okay. Okay, let's spend the rest of our time doing some styling. I can see from the design file in Figma that I have this kind of dark blue background color. So I'll set background color to the dark blue that I see in the design. And then we will select our main element and give it the background color from the design as well. It's kind of like a whitish color. It's a little hard to see, but underneath type something here, we have that white box. Just to make it a little more visible, let me give it a height for now. We'll give it, maybe let's say 400 pixels just to start out. And I'll make my thing a little bit bigger here so we can see that bottom border. Let's actually start with 300. I'm going to be changing this in just a second, so this shouldn't be too big of a deal. And I need that blue border around everything. I think I'll accomplish that with some padding. Let's go ahead and give this some padding of 20 pixels. All right, we need a border radius for the rounded corners, so we will add a border radius of 5 pixels. And really quick, let's address the issue on mobile sizes. We see, first of all, this will just expand to as wide as we decide to go with our browser, and we hard-coded this height of 300 pixels on here. I think we can do a little bit better than this by adding some view height that allows the box to take up the entire view height, but we'll also do some max height stuff so that it doesn't get out of hand. Let me make this a little bit tall and just try to give this a height of 100 view height. And well, actually, we're able to scroll here. I think that has to do with our padding. Let's go ahead and move our 100 view height to the body. We'll add a height of 100% to the main element, and then I'm actually going to change the display of the body to flex. We'll use a flex direction of column. And then we actually have a layer between our body element and our main element, and that is a little bit tricky to find, but remember, we are stuffing our entire React app here inside of the div with the ID of root, and so we need to make sure that that div will fill its entire parent container. So I'm going to select the div with the ID of root and tell it that the height should be 100%. Okay, we don't get a scroll bar. Let's see if we make this bigger. Okay, we have that 20 pixel padding around everything, and the box is resizing accordingly. I think there's a point at which it's going to get way too big. And so on this main element, I'm going to give it a, let's put it right here. We'll call it a max height of, I don't know, let's say 400 pixels. Maybe we'll do the same thing for a max width. And then I think I will make this float in the middle. And actually, what I'm controlling here is the div with the ID of root. Let's see if this works. We'll just center everything. So I'll do justify content center and align items center. And this always kind of gets me. I think because we are going multiple levels down between the body and our main element, we just need to pass along some of these styles. So I need to make sure that my width is also 100%. And then we will actually move the max height and width to our div with the ID of root. And yeah, that looks like it might have done it. Our main element is a block level element, so it should already be taking up 100% width of its parent container. The only reason we had to add this to the div with the ID of root is because creating a flexbox for its parent changes the display for its child, the div with the ID of root. For any of you who are much better at CSS than I am, there might be a better way to do this. I would be happy to hear about it in the Discord, or you can reach out to me on X. But for now, I'm going to stick with this. I'm also going to just resize this browser so that we don't have to think too much about it. Let's go over to app and remove the type something here. Hit save, and it looks like we are in the same starting point that we're supposed to be in. And listen, I know that starting from a completely blank canvas can be a really challenging thing when you're first learning a new technology. So don't feel bad if you were feeling a bit stuck. It's also been a really long time in this course since we have started a new React app from scratch. So if that was a little bit of a struggle, that's completely okay. From here on, though, we are going to be having challenges that should be pretty doable for you at this point in the course. So take it as just another sanity check. If the upcoming challenges do represent too big of a challenge for you, it's not something to feel bad about, but it is a solid indication that you might need to go back and rework some of the practices and projects that we've done in the previous sections. So without further ado, let's jump in and start adding some more content to our Tenzies game. In this part of the challenge, we are going to create the dice that actually show up on the page. We're just going to have some hard-coded values for now. So other than simply creating a component, this is going to be a pretty CSS-heavy challenge. Because this is a capstone project, I am going to ask that you do the CSS. I know in the past I have said that we should just focus on React, but due to this project being intended to practice all of the skills that it takes to build new apps in React, I do want you to do the CSS for this. That said, once you're done getting these dice kind of in the center of the page like this, the rest of our CSS will be relatively simple in comparison. I've also tried to give you some hints in the challenge text, but we'll get there in just a second. Your challenge is to create a die component, and yes, die is the correct singular of dice. Unfortunately, it will make the rest of this project sound a little bit violent, but I promise I'm a benevolent actor here. This is going to be a fun project. Your die component should take a value prop where it will take in whatever value it's going to display on the dice as a number. And I don't know that I wrote it here, but it should render a button with that value displayed. Then for now, I want you to render 10 instances of this new die component. We'll just render it manually, so it'll be here actually 10 times, where you'll pass in a value to each one, where the value is somewhere between 1 and 6 inclusive. Then I want you to add the styling to the main element and the die components so that it looks like it does on the slide. As a hint, what I would recommend doing is creating a container around the 10 die components that you render and using a display of grid to get them evenly spaced in the 2 rows with 5 columns like you see here in the picture. Speaking of the picture, just like in the other ones, you can click on this screenshot to take you directly to the Figma design file so you can find things like the code for this drop shadow or the font size or whatever else you might need the design for. So I'd recommend making a container so that you can get your grid evenly spaced with the dice, and then turning the main element, which is what we have as this white background, into a flex box to make it easier to center up vertically and horizontally the container for your dice. I wrote both of those hints down here so you have access to them easily. All right, I know you've got this. Let's get started on this challenge.
Okay, now guys, let us create a die component that takes a value props. Should render a button with a value, with that value displayed. Okay. Let's say die, boom, CSS, export. Export. Sorry, export. Default. props. Okay, now this one is done. So create a die component that does a value by props. A value props should render a volume that displays value. Okay, render 10 instances of die component manually. Provide number between 1 and 5 for each value. No. Okay, to do that, we should go over import the die from die from CSS. Okay. So now we should create 10 times. 10 times. So paste it 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's check it. 1, 3, 6, 6, 9, 10. I think it's okay. 3, 6, 9, 10. Okay. Okay. Now I get it. So it's not supposed to be value, something like props value. Props point value. And here is supposed to be like okay. Value is equals to 1. I think I'm correct. Copy, paste, paste, paste. 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4.
I'll start by creating a new file called die.jsx, a totally innocent version of die, and then we will export default our function die. We already know it's going to take props because, well, the challenge said for it to take props. It's going to have a value prop, and this should return a button because this is going to be clickable by our users. We want to make sure that we use the button element so that we get all the free accessibility stuff that comes with the button element. And what goes inside will be props.value. Props.value might seem like it's a little bit out of the blue, and that's because we haven't rendered any die components. Let's go ahead and see, I can get rid of this. We'll import die from ./die. I'm going to put this on its own line to start, and we will just have a presentational div. This is just going to be the container. Let's give it a class name and call it dice container. And inside, I can render 10 instances of my die component, and I'll just pass in a value of 1. It's also okay if you chose to pass it in as a string. I don't think it's going to matter too much for us at this point. And then I will just copy and paste this 10 times. I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll start by creating a new, just copy and paste this 10 times. I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, 10. And it's probably not going to be pretty, but let's go ahead and refresh. And sure enough, we And sure enough, we get our 10 buttons on the page. Awesome. At this point, I think we will mostly be over in the CSS. So let's go over here. And I guess we're already here in the main element. So let's go ahead and change this to a display of flex. I'll give it a flex direction of column. And we will justify content center and align items to the center. Okay, nice. That got all of our buttons just right there in the center of the page. Let's go ahead and select our dice container. And I guess we're already here in the main element, so let's go ahead and change this to a display of flex. I'll give it a flex direction of column, and we will justify content center and align items to the center. Okay, nice. That got all of our buttons just right there in the center of the page. Let's go ahead and select our dice container. Change this to a display of grid. Let's go ahead and change our grid template so that we have 2 auto-sized columns. So it's going to be auto, and then we want 5 1 fraction unit rows. And so I can use repeat 5 times of 1 fraction unit. Awesome, we can give some spacing to this with a gap of 20 pixels. And now let's work. So these will just be the buttons inside the dice container. So I'm just gonna select it like this. And I'm just going to put down some of the CSS that I can find in the design. So we have a height of 50 pixels, a width of 50 pixels. There's a pretty cool box shadow in the design, so I can just copy the value that I found there. It's going to have a border radius of 10 pixels, and it looks like we get some interesting default borders from the button, so we'll just say border is none. The button kind of has its own color, and it's a little too similar to the background, so we'll give it a background color of pure white. And oh yeah, that makes it stand out a lot better. The font is pretty small. Let's give it a font size of, let's try 2 rems. Oh, that's really big. Let's try maybe 1.75. That's a little more manageable. Although I think we probably could bump up the font weight to bold. Oh yeah, that's looking great. Buttons automatically have the text as centered, but for whatever reason, buttons do not automatically have a cursor of pointer. So I'm going to add that. You won't be able to see this in the recording, but if you refresh the app and hover your mouse over each of these buttons, you'll get that familiar Mickey Mouse glove hand that indicates that it's clickable. One thing I have found is that buttons don't tend to inherit the font family from any parent elements, although honestly I don't think we've set the font family here. I'll do that later. And we are going to be using the inter font, and maybe we'll just include a sans serif as a backup. And actually, I said I'm going to do that later. I'm just going to copy and paste it right now. But we items to the center. Okay, a width of 50 pixels. There's a pretty cool box shadow in the design, so I can just copy the value that I found there. It's going to have a border radius of 10 pixels, and it looks like we get some interesting default borders from the button, so we'll just say border is none. The button kind of has its own color, and it's a little too similar to the background, so we'll give it a background color of pure white. And oh yeah, that makes it stand out a lot better. The font is pretty small. Let's give it a font size of, let's try 2 rems. Oh, that's really big. Let's try maybe 1.75. That's a little more manageable. Although I think we probably could bump up the font weight to bold. Oh yeah, that's looking great. Buttons automatically have the text as centered, but for whatever reason, buttons do not automatically have a cursor of pointer. So I'm going to add that. You won't be able to see this in the recording, but if you refresh the app and have your mouse over each of these buttons, you'll get that familiar Mickey Mouse glove hand that indicates that it's clickable. One thing I have found is that buttons don't tend to inherit the font family from any parent elements, although honestly I don't think we've set the font family here. I'll do that later. And we are going to be using the Inter font, and maybe we'll just include a sans serif as a backup. And actually, I said I'm going to do that later. I'm just going to copy and paste it right now. But we can see that if I didn't specifically put a font family on my buttons, then for some reason it doesn't inherit the font family from the parent. So we'll leave it in both places. While we're doing that, we should probably test all of the numbers so we're not just basing our decisions on all ones. I'll go ahead and include 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and hit save. And awesome, yeah, these are looking great. And I dare say that we probably are pretty close to the design, so I think we can call this one a win. Again, yes, that was a lot of CSS, but also again, this is fortunately the last of the major CSS challenges that we're going to have, at least in this project. Great work on this challenge. Next, what we'll do is get rid of our 10 hard-coded die components and more programmatically generate a random list of 10 numbers. So that's what's coming up next. When we're faced with a slightly bigger challenge, like generate 10 random dice components and display them to the screen, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. A great practice to get into is to learn how to take those larger problems and break them down into smaller pieces so that you can solve each piece at a time. In fact, this is one of the key things that hiring managers and people giving tech interviews are looking for. They're looking for your ability to break down a problem into smaller pieces, solve those individual pieces, and put them together so that they create a solution to the entire problem. So we are going to break up this challenge of getting 10 random dice elements on the page into 2 parts. First, I just want you to write a function called allNewDice. And actually, you know what? I'm going to, on the fly, decide to call this generate allNewDice. That returns an array of 10 random numbers between 1 to 6 inclusive. For now, you can just manually call this generate allNewDice function and log the results to the console. As with any algorithmic challenge, there's more than one way to do this. If you need help learning how to create a random number in JavaScript, then a quick Google search or asking ChatGPT should be helpful to you. However, because we're inside of a learning environment here, I highly recommend you don't simply copy and paste this challenge text to ChatGPT and have it give you an answer. That is only going to short your own learning and take away a perfect opportunity to think critically and how to solve this problem. That said, I don't expect you to have memorized how to generate a random number in JavaScript, so just use your best judgment. Make sure that you're putting your effort into this so that you are not shorting your own education. All right, that's enough of that guilt trip. Go ahead and get started on this challenge.
So, to create random number, so we first of all declare a function. That's it. So we want that an array of 10 numbers should be returned. So the first thing is declare the array. Fill in the array. Return the array. Okay. To declare the array, you declare it already discussed. Oh, okay, let's go. Normally to declare an array with 10 elements. So how to declare an array with a fixed height? So we shall use this function, this code, new array, and this fill-in function, random number. So let's just call it random. And put here fill-in. Okay, now let's declare generate numbers. So let's just say that's the program. Now the thing here is that, for example, if it generates after the number have been generated, the number will be filled 10 times inside the array. That's not what I want. So I want that from every position in the array. The number should be generated. So we can use a map function. I think so. A map function, yes. This is 0 here. Then use a map function. So this map function will iterate through the array. And in every iteration, there will be a random number that will be generated between 1 and 5. Exclusive. So generate random number between 1 to 6 and we'll see. Okay, thank you. Here's the code. No, not random plus 1. So generate. So now for every index, let me say index here. Let me just write everything. Index. I think that is a correct array. I don't know if it's let me just write it's sorry. I don't know syntax. Okay, element index array. So element index array, I got it right, is equals to random number. At the end of all that, return something wrong here. Okay, I see this should be a problem here. I should store it somewhere. Is it because this thing basically creates a new array? It's not efficient. Let's say new array. New array. Okay, now we have the endless return new array. I know this is a better way to do it. Solution. Check solution. Remember to log the array. Okay. So let me console comment array. Let me say generate. So it's creating an array of arrays. So there's a problem somewhere. Okay. So yeah, reference error because const and let. Reference error because const and let are function and block scope. I think so. Yes. Yeah, I think so. Hello. Thanks for joining. You're welcome. Wow. $160. Wow, great. But how? I don't know what to do now. Right. But I think that they will still do the same thing. Let me say generate. Okay, creating 10 arrays. So there's a problem here. is it not returning this guy? Nope. Not returning. Okay. Is it nice one to find? But what's wrong? Okay, I think that here I'll use the for loop. It's better. And I equals to 0, I should less than do all this shit. Get this thing. So, maps. Good now. So basically here is we have to put this guy. Array. Okay. Create a new array and fill it with zeros. We go through the array. Go through the array. On everything we return a random number. So let me just erase this one. Yeah, and we increment the index. Okay, the other one. It's just 0 because it starts at 0. Random number generate, comes back, generate, comes back, generate, comes back. Just run again the app. Okay, it seems as if it's only one that is changing. It's only this first one that is changing. But what's wrong here? Yeah, max stretch. Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy. Okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Makes sense. Oh, I got it.
right, let's write a function. Actually, I'm going to do this inside my app component. I'll create a function called
hello,
generate
mates.
all new dice. And even
Scribbler is not, so on the freemium model, you cannot use it the way I'm talking. I'm using it like participate to challenges and so on and so forth. Like, sorry, but the model I'm using is not free, it's paid version, so that's why I can do so much challenges as I want. So that's just basically it.
This function is something that we could break down into smaller parts. Let's say first we need to create a new array, and it'll just be empty. Then we need to loop 10 times since we're trying to create 10 numbers. And inside that loop, we're going to generate a random number between 1 and 6, and we will push that number to the array. And outside the loop, we will simply return the array. Okay, let's solve it this way, and then I think I'll show another way that you can solve this, just to show you that there's more than one way to solve these kinds of problems. We'll create a new array. Let's just call it new dice, and it'll be empty. We need to loop 10 times, so we'll just use a regular actually with random number. Make sure, yep, that one's good. That one's good. Okay, I think 0. This like we are getting a working function once again. One way isn't necessarily better than the other. I don't know what the difference between the performance metrics would be in the way that we had it before and the way we have it now. I kind of like this functional programming approach, so I'm just going to leave it like this, but it truly doesn't matter that much. Okay, well, let's move on to the next part of this challenge, where instead of just generating a random array of numbers, we turn that into new die components. That way we can get rid of this manual die component repetition that we have here going on. We created a function where we can create an array of 10 random numbers, but next we need to find a way to move those 10 random numbers from just being here in memory in React to the page. Doing so requires us to create some state. So that's your challenge, to create some state that will hold our array of numbers. You can just initialize that state by calling our generate all new dice function. That way when the app loads for the first time, it will call this generate all new dice function and just have those 10 random numbers ready to display. Then right here in the code, I'm actually going to put a comment here that says map over dice here. I want you to map over that array that's being held in state to create an array of die elements. This says elements, should say components, and then render those in place of our manually written 10 die elements here. Remember to pass a value into them so it can correctly display the number from the array in state. When you do this, you'll probably run into that warning about having to have a unique key prop for each one of your items. You can just ignore that warning for now. We're going to change things up in a little bit to fix that warning. Okay, you should be set with everything you need. Go ahead and work on this challenge.
So now let's create a state that will hold a number, an array of numbers. So Okay. To create the state, initialize the state by calling get function so it loads all new dice as soon as the app loads. Okay. Let's say dice number. Set dice numbers. That's it. Now to use state because structure it. Use state is equals to the initial state is the return. So generate one new dice. I don't even know how to do it like this. I think it's like this. It's not working. Because I didn't import this guy here. So let me destructure the React library and take your state from it. So React, okay, now it's working. So my question is, should I, okay, but local function, okay, return, because the local returns number, I'm going to this. And the engine knows that it's working. Okay. Lol, just 97 subscriber and 3 man, why this guy is so ridiculous. Just and poor man. Okay, forget. Okay. Let's go and visit this profile and see. Go to his canal. So this guy is nobody. It's wasting his time looking to me. Okay. C'est toi qui eat the man. Why you eat the four? You guys will just give me a minute.
That's fine. Okay.
Yo guys, I will put an end at the workshop today. It's like because I have things to do now. So we shall just continue tomorrow. Have a nice day.